I've been playing a game at the gas station all year long, and I've been meaning to tell you about it because it's been very helpful to me and it has many applications in different areas of life. The essence is that I finally realized after 20 something years of driving that I don't need to wait until I'm in the final quarter tank, eighth of a tank, 10 miles to left to go to refill my gas tank. I can actually choose when I refill my gas, and it doesn't have to be at the very bottom when I'm literally running on fumes or 11 miles to go and I have a car full of kids on the way to or from school or whatever it is. So I've been playing with the idea of whenever I get to the half tank mark, I pull over and I refill. Not exactly literally, at that moment, but just generally speaking, I have an awareness when I get near the half tank mark that I'm going to drop off the kids at school and then pull over to the gas station that's on the way home. This has been a surprisingly poignant way for me to build confidence and momentum. It's like compounding because it feels like self support. It feels like a very fun and unexpected, seemingly silly, but also very practical and makes a lot of sense way to support myself. It's like a new form of self care, right? It's not always massages and power naps and things. Sometimes it's just filling up your gas tank well before you need to. And the metaphorical applications, like I said, this could be like a savings account. And I understand well, one, you might not even have a car and you might take public transit wherever you live or walk wherever you go. But if you do have a car, then it's really stressful when you get and you wait until you get to the end or the last eighth of a tank. And it's like, why do we do that? It's not like it ultimately costs any more than half of that tank, which depending on where you live, I understand that gas prices could be wildly different. But here in Texas, I guess they're relatively cheap. So it might be $30 at the most up front to run this experiment. But otherwise, it's not costing any more. It's just that I'm making more frequent but shorter trips to the gas station and feeling the abundance, if you will, of that psychological it just shushes the noise and the survival fears and noise that come from running on fumes. Obviously, this has metaphors. You're probably already thinking of the parallels of how we experience this in life. This could be applied to your sleep. So I wear an Aura ring, and I have for several years since before they were cool because it was something randomly I mentioned to my husband after anyway, it doesn't matter. But I've had an Aura ring since 2018 or 2019, so it knows me well. It knows that I need a good 7.5 hours of actual sleep to feel optimal and running at my best. And this year they added a feature called sleep debt, where it's tracking if I got less than 7.5 hours, it starts to track sleep debt, and it can compound really quickly. And I start to feel behind on it. And I'm like, this is another way that you can give yourself margin, and you can just play with this as a lens and a filter for how you're looking at these things, because giving yourself enough sleep, whatever that means and looks like for you, for your body in this time, is one way that you're supporting yourself and giving yourself that gift of margin. And it really does help you shush the survival noise, the fears, the urges that can come up. I notice so clearly the pattern if I don't get enough sleep the next day. I mean, this is one reason why I care about it a lot, because I don't want to be snappy and a grouchy a-hole with my family. I also want to have access to my prefrontal lobe, like my mom brain, as I call it, my executive center, to be able to create and to do and to think and to plan and to design. That's important to me, and it's not going to happen if I'm not getting enough sleep. Okay, so that's one example. Another example that is free, well, not free, but lower cost, toilet paper, right? Like, you want to know that you have more than enough toilet paper, that you're not going to run out in your home. That's abundance in a simpler form. If you think about abundance meaning that you have what you need when you need it, then what can you actually control? What is actively within your control if you just make a decision about it and design accordingly ahead of time before you're running on fumes and you have no square to spare? How can you make some design decisions ahead of time and take some action ahead of time so that you're giving yourself that margin? Okay, so we've talked about gas, we've talked about Sleep. We've talked about toilet paper. Another example that is very 2025 for us because my family has been all about cinnamon life cereal this year, me included. I love it every now and then, and it's just like I might have some after my dinner, or I don't usually have it for breakfast, but sometimes my kids will. And we all love it. So whenever we buy it, we buy multiple boxes so that there's not going to be friction, unnecessary friction and a conflict because so and so finished the life and nobody else had a chance. It's like the things that matter to you that you know make a difference. It could be big, it could be small, it could be intangible like sleep, even though that has biological, actual, tangible effects. And it could be very tangible like toilet paper and gas in your car. But making those, giving yourself a little bit of buffer can make a really big difference in how you feel and how you show up. It's the same with a savings account, which is just in real time today. Like it decreases that psychological stress. No, it's not that all of our money or safety, all of our safety comes from money. That's not what I'm saying. But you also can't deny that having some margin in case of emergency, knowing that it's not going to wipe you out, decreases your stress. That's a very real thing that affects your nervous system. It affects how you're showing up. It affects the access that you have to your planning brain, like I said. So there's that. And you can also think about it in terms of retirement. So savings is like for the today example, but also thinking long term for your retirement, God willing, that we're in our 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond, making sure that you're giving yourself a buffer and filling up the tank before you need it now is another way to look at it. So you may already be doing a lot of these things, but I just wanted to note this example because, like I said, it's really been something that I've thought about a lot this year as I'm recording this in 2025 because it's like a face palm. How did I not think of this earlier? I've been driving since I was 16 years old, 15 years old. And there have been many times where I would wait until the very end and I'm thinking, is this accurate? Is it because I'm on a hill? Do I really have 15 miles to go? Whatever. And it's just unnecessary. So, yeah, take that for what you will. I'm curious if some of these things you already do, if you can think of any other examples that give the same vibe, because the point is that running on fumes, it's going to happen sometimes. And it's not a moral failure. It's just, it could be a math problem. It could just be a design challenge that I'm telling you now. And now that you've heard it, you can't unhear it. Maybe it's just a matter of sitting down and thinking, where do I end up feeling really crunchy and rushed? It could be your relationship with time and the half tank. And the equivalent with time is like, if you know you're always running late to something, what if you filled up the tank and a little sooner and you gave yourself an extra 5 minutes? Like you left 5 minutes earlier than you otherwise would. And you just set yourself up for that. It's like a game, but it's all in the name of self-support and taking care of yourself and loving yourself enough to make those decisions ahead of time and to try something different so that for the days when you're running on fumes because your kids are sick, it's truly beyond your control and you're up in the middle of the night because they're sick or whatever, like save the burnout moments for those that are completely beyond your control and start looking around your environment for the things like, oh, that's actually unnecessary friction. That's actually optional. It's not actually a surprise that could be helpful. It's just a different way of looking at things. And I also think about it like by giving ourselves the margin, then we're creating more capacity to then create more margin. It's like a cycle, like a chicken or the egg piece, but I think that they actually support each other because the more margin that you give yourself, the more capacity you have to show up in the way that you probably want to be showing up. And then the more that you get to show up in the way that you actually want to show up, the more brain power and energy you have to create more margin and to think about this in a different way and to experiment with different things. So just wanted to anchor that in for us because it has been really helpful to me. I hope that it's useful to you and would love to hear how it lands and any other ideas that it sparks. All right, catch you next time.